Alright guys, I'm Beal. I'm here back with more Disco Elysium. It is the next morning, and it's actually morning for the first time in a while. It is 11:21. And yeah, we're going to continue on here. I am listening to the Big Brother Live feed update, so I might as well do that. I believe we're about to talk to Kuna's parents.
At 6, and he still has Alyssa in the game, so he's solid if Alyssa's there.
Threatening to cut off the electricity.
That's never worth it.
Mr. Uno Doroita.
And the place comes with 3 months' worth of utility bills.
No response. The apartment numbers are falling off the door, leaving the panel with a sticky shaped shadow. And then you'll need to equip the chain cutters to enter. Snip right through them.
Oh, okay. We have that, right? To us, I keep on forgetting items are even a thing in this game.
The shabby door hangs oddly on its hinges. Secured to
Alright. Let's do a quick save just in case. Again, like, more than likely it'll work.
And the place comes with 3 months' worth of utility.
It should be.
Wait.
Fabric rustles.
What?
The lieutenant's chin catches.
Trouble with the chain.
Wow, that's some bullshit. I actually failed on 92%. Whatever.
There. Same is true of Claire with Tiffany and the women of the cookout, and so they're all starting to think about this, and it's really going to matter next week, and so that's why I feel like probably not the best timing here.
Well, I do think that if anyone can use an HOH reign to solidify themselves for the future week and solidify
I did
kind of
get
the
up
narrative they want,
relatively
it is
early
Tiffany.
today.
And
Ran
ultimately,
some
the
errands,
silver lining for
actually.
me is that this is a huge notch
yeah.
in Tiffany's belt now. Huge bump up in the resume. At least it's an HOH win, so I think there's that to carry. And I guess it's a
yeah, plan for today is
not for
still
the fact
the
that she's
same.
taking out someone that everyone else would have
Just,
wanted to take out, so she's not
working
really
on,
causing any.
we're gonna play this for a little bit, and then we'll work
Or like
on
the
the
biggest wave she might have had to worry about is
or actually on
but
Survivor.
it's been very clear to me that she's been the Kylan tamer over the night. So I think she's good as far as the social implements go. Now, competition-wise, yes, there will be some difficulties if she cannot participate. So again, just for the clarity with all this stuff, there's too many damn rules. I'm assuming if a coin flip happens, she will still not be able to and the coin flip works, she will still not be able to
I don't
compete
have
next
room
week,
for
right?
it, but
no matter what.
What is this?
Yes, yeah, okay, yeah. So then, yeah, for that reason, that will be sad that she can't compete next week. But again, a good notch on the resume regardless.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that she should have thrown this, because a player like Tiffany, especially, like, you have to take your wins when you can get them. Now, if she makes it to the final 2, she at least has 1 HOH on her resume. There's no guarantee that she could have been able to win the next HOH. Just in terms of, last week we talked about last night we talked about timing of this HOH. I do not think this was the ideal timing here for Tiffany, and by extension, Claire. But we will see. We will see.
It's a good, real quick, it's a good statistic HOH win. I did see a tweet today that Tishawn, Mickey, and I believe Week 8 HOH has gone on to win the game these last couple of seasons. So that's good for those stat lovers that like that connection would be there. So that's one good thing.
Those are like comp winners, though. Those are people that like went on to win a lot of comps.
Right. Well, hey, maybe it's
there were a lot of comps that they won. But yes, we will see. Sarah Beth is getting nervous. She feels like she's in some trouble. She's gonna talk to Xavier about it. I could be a clown. Derek told me that everyone was targeting me in this house. I didn't believe him, but I'm starting to get a little bit worried.
This entire thing of gain $2 every time you get encyclopedia knowledge is just dumb, isn't it?
Silly, right?
I think it's too
That's not what's. Is that what's happening? Is that? Well, hopefully. Well, look. I trust Big D. Hopefully, Big D gets the coin of destiny, and then he'll save me, right?
Yeah, this is the thing I was talking about earlier with Good Guy DX. Kind of, he didn't blow up anyone's game on the way out. He didn't put anyone on the spot, but he did throw some subtle nuggets before he left. The other thing he's thrown back into the house is that hey, Claire has $100, just so you know. And SB is right to worry. I will not forget this because I get to talk about the Friday morning update. Last week, I remember the first conversation she had during her HOH was with Kylan being like, I want to play this week so good that it solidifies me a final
I
two
can't
spot.
use this.
And here she is being like, I don't think it's going to go well. It's like Spider-Man during Infinity. I don't feel so good, Mr. Stark. Yeah, you shouldn't, SB. It's not looking good for you at all.
Yeah, she came out of that HOH with literally every person in the house planning to target her. Prior to the last night, I would have said maybe Alyssa wouldn't have. Very clear that Alyssa would have targeted Sarah Beth as well. So literally every single person in the house, including, I believe, even Kylan, probably. I mean, given the fact that Kylan was throwing this HOH, obviously Kylan would have targeted Claire or Alyssa first. But he threw the competition because he was very willing, or would have planned on throwing the competition. Tiffany did not believe he actually threw the competition, nor do I, actually. But I do think he would have if Alyssa had gone out of the competition.
To add a little bit more to this, SB also, in a very rare move, alienated America, who's going to vote for Bucks this week by pretty much telling them to put the Bucks where the sun don't shine. So
honestly, America can wipe their butt with the BB Bucks.
Spoiler alert, she's gonna ask America for some money later, so it's so funny. It's just so funny to me. You have to laugh, you really do.
Did not exactly put herself in the best of spots here. She wasn't in a great spot before, but literally the one person that saved her 2 weeks ago, even though he did end up putting her on the block, which I still do think was a mistake, was Derek, and everything he's telling her was definitely the truth. So Tiffany's gonna continue to talk to people one-on-one. She talks to Azza. She says that the goal now is to make sure that Alyssa and Claire are targeting each other next week. That's what they need to make sure is going on. And she says that it's important to make sure that Claire is the last non-cookout member in the game because she is the least likely to target the women. She will go after the men, and the women will be safe if the scenario happens that Claire wins that HOH. So that's what she is pitching to Azza. I think the pitch here for Tiffany, the thing that she really needs to start moving on is, hey, Alyssa is a better competitor. Alyssa was in the top 3 of that HOH competition. She almost won that HOH. She already has 2 comp wins under her belt. Claire has nothing. Claire sucks. She can't win a thing in this game. We should definitely take Claire to 7. She is much less likely to win that HOH in the first place. I think that's a very solid argument that if you are pro cookout, you can't really defend against very well. I would expect her to start using that argument hopefully soon. But so far she's talking to the people that she knows would benefit them to keep Claire around. She's just using that benefit as the argument why Claire should stick around.
And I think, aside from it personally benefiting Tiffany's game, that Claire would be the last one before Alyssa, as a collective, it just makes the most sense given what we've seen performance-wise, right? So if we remove anyone's affiliation with the two, it's very clear that Alyssa has way more capability of winning anything, comparing the two. Alyssa has had a bunch of runner-up moments. She's been very close multiple times in multiple competitions. And, Claire hasn't won anything, so it would almost be the way it's written with these shows where she wins when no one thought she would win, like the Sabrina HOH and BB Can 2, like that could happen. But it's a lot less likely than Alyssa winning one. So I think even if Tiffany didn't have a specific preference, it makes the most sense. I do think starting to push that narrative and remind people of that more will help. The only person I think that it would definitely not work on is Xavier, because obviously Xavier has a lot more of a closer connection to Alyssa for himself personally. That makes the most sense. Big D? No. Maybe?
Shit.
I don't know. I think, if anything, that's the only two. Everyone else, I think Claire staying would benefit, though. them. Ultimately.
Well, and the sort of the great part about this argument is that it's exactly Xavier's argument last week.
We're just going to do these
Derek,
to try to get
and you're
the
just
percentage
flipping
back
it
up.
around on him this time. The reason we took out Derek was that he was such a great competitor, and we needed to make sure that we took out the biggest competitor. Well, now Alyssa's the biggest competitor, Xavier. Why are you not?
Oh, fuck, it's back to being
And you can make it seem like Xavier is now
save.
the selfish one, not on board with the cookout, and he would have to sort of conform to the correct argument, right? So we'll see. We may not end up seeing that, but it wouldn't surprise me if that becomes a big thing throughout this week when we're talking about
That's
when
annoying.
they're talking about next week, and then heading into next week. There's definitely going to be some debates about which one should go, and it may even be that that it might come down to the HOH. It might just straight up come down to a vote. They might just put up Alyssa and Claire on the block together because why not at that point? And then it may be a genuine, actual majority vote that rules. So this is going to be with this week all but set in stone. If not for some key veto wins, we are going to I think be talking a lot about which of Alyssa or Claire goes home next week. And I know they're going to jury, guys. It's just more fun to say.
It's more fun to send them back, yeah.
She looks up, too anxious to say you've done
So
this.
Tiffany's going to talk with Big D. She pitches to him as well that Claire should be the last to go, but Big D disagrees. He thinks that it should be Alyssa. So this is they're already on this sort of train here. And Tiffany talks to Alyssa, and Alyssa immediately, and this is like. This is the sign of a terrible HOA train, right?
Alive.
You build relationships, you choose to go after certain people, you think that you have new relationships, new alliances. The following week, before anything else happens, those relationships and alliances are throwing you under the bus for what you did that week. That's a sign of a terrible HOA train, and that's exactly what's happening here. Alyssa immediately is like, Tiffany, let me tell you, did you know that Sarah Beth last week tried to pretend like I made the decision to save Big D with the roulette twist on my own? Like I called that shot? No, she told me not to save Claire and to save Big D instead, and then put all the blame on me. Can you believe that? You know what else? Derek X, before he left, he told me that she was going to target me, not for him. That he was the one being targeted, but I was the backup target. And you know what? I believe him. Because I believe Derek X, unlike Sarah Beth. Tiffany says, well, I've been told that you were targeting me. And Alyssa's like, unbelievable. No way. Absolutely not. I can't believe this, Sarah Beth. I haven't trusted Sarah Beth since week 5. And it's like, yeah, and Sarah Beth knew that before Kylan talked to her for 5 hours. She says, Xavier's been trying to convince me that I can trust Sarah Beth, but I never have. This girl is not trustworthy. And so Tiffany's like, so I take that to mean that you would not use the veto on her if you won? Of course not. Absolutely not. You would use it on Xavier. Yes, of course. I would definitely use it on Xavier. Perfect. We're good.
It's probably
Alyssa does a great job here. Because last week, I remember during the one-on-one, she was the one who went up to SB and was like, hey, Tiffany didn't seem too happy that you won. And tried to plant a seed there. Didn't work. Wasn't believed there. But I think Tiffany is very much believing everything Alyssa's putting down here, to the point where I think there's an outside chance that Tiffany might not want to. In the situation where Sarah Beth doesn't win a veto, or doesn't win the veto, I don't think she's gonna necessarily want to put Alyssa up if she doesn't have to. So that is I would say a good job from Alyssa, kind of giving you exactly everything you wanted to hear, Tiffany, right there.
Yes. Now, the only reason to be concerned about putting Kylan and Sarah Beth on the block is a scenario that I think we outlined last night, which is that if Alyssa wins the veto and uses it on Sarah Beth, now all of a sudden Tiffany will be forced to take out Claire. That's a really bad scenario for her. But with Xavier as the third nominee, there's basically no chance that Alyssa wins the veto and uses it on Sarah Beth instead of Xavier. Right. So she should feel pretty comfortable making these nominations. the only way something like that would happen is if the cookout was completely blown up anyway, at which point is Claire even all that useful to her, because Claire will also probably be against the cookout, but honestly still.
I'll call the station.
But that's where things are. So Tiffany is going to feel comfortable putting Kyland and Sarah Beth on the block with Alyssa not using the veto on Sarah Beth. And you're correct, Kuya. She does feel good about this conversation.
So everything's within one page now.
She has enough of a working relationship with Alyssa. She also is fresh off of a conversation with Big D, where Big D said he wanted Alyssa to be the 7th person. She's talked in the past about making sure that she works on the relationship with Alyssa in the event that Alyssa is the 7th person in the game. And so she tells Xavier in her one-on-one with him that she would like to prevent Alyssa from going up on the block this week if possible. Highland ends up winning the veto, then she wants to put Big D on the block to preserve her relationship with Alyssa. And if, of course, if Sarah Beth wins the veto, then Alyssa would go up and go home. But she does want to try to preserve that relationship with Alyssa as much as possible, so that she is not going to be targeted at 7 if Alyssa is the one to make it to 7.
And that's a very good call by her. We didn't talk about this, but now it might be handy. During the Big D conversation, the one-on-one, the ending of that, Big D kind of assumes that he might go up on the block, and Tiffany doesn't correct him, and then has good chuckles.
Yeah, she tells him, like, you leave this conversation like you're worried you're going to be put up on the block. Like, that's not going to be a problem.
Yeah, and I just love that Big D kind of thinks these things, because now, if she puts them on the block, it's not like a big surprise, because Big D's convinced himself that, hey, I could still potentially go up on the block. And I feel like this will work to Tiffany's benefit, because like everything that was just highlighted, because also before all of the one-on-ones, Tiffany kind of mentioned that she would like for Xavier to stay on the block so that there are no, what was the reasoning there? So that there would not be votes that would go against her with the SB thing?
Well, in particular, she wants Xavier to be on the block for the veto situation. That as long as Xavier's on the block, then he will be able to play in the veto, and other people will use the veto on him. And that if he stays on the block post veto for the vote, then there's like the vote is very easy. Like, oh, we have to vote out. It's like, basically, if Xavier's on the block, there's no reason for Alyssa to try and
never got the fuel thing, did we?
Onto Kyland or something like that, because she's going to have more incentive to go along with the house.
Oh, I guess we did.
Take out Sarah Beth, because that's the easier path. If she tries something else, then Xavier's on the block, so she's going to want the easiest path to keep Xavier safe, rather than thinking about what's best for my game. It's what's best to keep Xavier safe, which is the easy one, which is Sarah Beth.
And I think after a bunch of these conversations, she warms up to the idea of, no, let's just, like, if the veto's won and X comes off the block, that's perfect. That's completely fine. The noms stay the same. I don't have to renom. That's good.
Yes. So that's what's going on there. Tiffany is going to have a conversation with Sarah Beth, and Sarah Beth comes in. She says that before Derek left, he told me that everybody is coming after me. That's silly, right? And Tiffany says, look, Sarah Beth, I feel like you and Kai, Xavier, and Alyssa,
why can't I scroll? That's fucking weird too.
And with Derek X gone, I feel like my side of the house has been left defenseless against you guys. And you put Claire on the block, and I know she wasn't a target for you, but clearly this is the position that we're in this house, and so losing DX in this game, he really made me question where I am in the house. And if I went the route of you and Kyland, I would give you two the opportunity to play in the veto. Don't worry about that. And she has that tone as well. Don't it's very motherly.
So we have 2 days worth of money.
And she says,
that's cool.
Sarah Beth says, I did learn last week that the Jokers are a lot closer to X and Alyssa than I thought. So if you think about it, they're definitely more dangerous in this game. And I wasn't lying to you when I said that I wanted to work with you and Claire. I promise. I promise. And Tiffany's kind of like, well, you did put Claire on the block, and you took out Derek X, which was like, cutting off my legs in this game. And Cerebeth said, well, first of all, I didn't realize that taking Derek X out was cutting off your legs. I didn't know that. And Tiffany's like, well, he was a strong competitor, that he could have stayed in this house and taken out big targets in this game that weren't you, even. But maybe you're aligned with those targets, and maybe that you're playing to protect them in this game. And Cerebeth's like, well, I don't want you to think that sending Derek home was for other people. That's not what the move was about. Sure. Okay. I know that I can't take Kai to the end. I mean, come on. Obviously, I'm keenly aware of the fact that, as a woman, Kai's gonna kind of beat me in the end. So I know I'm gonna cut Kai. That's obviously gonna happen. So you would definitely be in a position to benefit from that. Okay, honey. Yeah.
Tick.
Sure.
Decision time. What's it gonna be?
This was very fun to watch because you could see in Cerebeth's eyes she has seen the writing on the wall, and she's trying to, as subtly as she can, maybe justify something, move something, pin it on the jokers a little bit. There's no give here. There's no give. It's very clear. And I love, again, the way Tiffany did this was perfect. The tone was perfect. Mentioning that if she did it as a courtesy, she'll put them both on the block so they can play for veto. Perfect. This was very well done. And ultimately, you could, there was nothing that could be done to make, to be mad about. It was the right way to do it.
This does not go well for Cerebeth. This is like, I think that this conversation is, it's not Janelle, right? It's not like screaming in somebody's face like, you screwed up. You shouldn't have taken out Kaser.
Or you mind pretty easily.
It's not that, because that's obviously not great for anybody's game. But it's like, it's the game-aware version of that, where she is just very calmly and just a smidge of patronizing, just explaining to Cerebeth, you screwed up. You shouldn't have taken Derek out. But in a way that is not in Cerebeth's face, just lightly, yes, twisting the knife and just being like,
the fuck do you want with it? Good call, Pigmeister.
The part of it that would have been Janelle-esque, she does in private amongst her alliance members. At the beginning of the night, she joked about what her eviction speech was, her nomination speech was going to be about Cerebeth. And that's where she does that. The rest of it, it's more Game of Thrones. It's more in your face, but sly, but subtle. Again, not mean so that you can have a negative reaction about it, but you're playing a losing verbal battle when you're talking to her.
Yeah, I mean, it's about the same. It's not much better,
the
actually.
eviction speech.
The food is not worth $15
hopefully
probably.
something along the line. You sent my friend Derek X home. I told you that was a mistake. Put your damn heart glasses on. Don't let the door hit you on the way out, Cerebeth.
Oh, I love it.
Please tell me you do not have the Julie being overly excited about Derek X.
Oh.
I didn't need to hear that.
Derek X. Oh, I love it.
I regret my decision to talk about that.
Baby D.
All right. Then we're gonna get Hannah's one-on-one. They talk through the week, and then Hannah is going to, she's feeling very guilty. This is pretty much exactly what we were just talking about yesterday, the day before, about Hannah and sort of like, at least my theory on why she was so dead set on Derek X leaving, and that she was really struggling with it and feeling very guilty and just wanted it over with, and feeling like she didn't want to have to do it directly. And I still do. I feel like
I forgot, this goes to the roof, doesn't it?
This wasn't the easier, even though it seems easier, it seems like the shinier way to do it, to be like, I don't have to actually confront this to Derek X and I get to sort of like have my hands clean. Like, that will theoretically be easier, right? But I think ultimately ends in more feelings of guilt, and Hannah is really struggling here. She ends up crying to Tiffany, sobbing to Tiffany. She feels so bad about stabbing him in the back. And again, it's in part because he doesn't even know that she stabbed him in the back yet, and so she's having to live through him, just like being so grateful to her for all of what she's done for him in the game, and like she's like, I'm literally holding a knife in your back right now, and you're telling me that I'm the best number one ever. And he was telling the guys, like, hey, you look out for Hannah in this game. And he was like he's such a good person, and I like him so much, and I screwed him over. Like, I was there, like, just stabbing him. And I prevented him from getting further in this game, and like I just feel so terrible about it. And Tiffany is there trying to comfort her, like, I get it, like, I know exactly what you're feeling. I felt the same way about Claire. I feel the same way about Derek X. I've had these conversations. And you know, it's a rough moment for Hannah, and I feel so bad. Like, this is, again, it's such an interesting scenario because there really is something greater that they're working toward, right? And because of that, they're having to face these emotions that are contrary to what they would normally. When you do something like this, the emotion to counter your guilt is your own self-interest. That well, I'm doing this because I have to. It's a game, and in order for me to win, I need to make this move. But that's not the line that they can use right now. The line is that there is something greater than myself, and you'd think like, oh, that's easier, but I don't think it is, because it's still not yourself. And so it is making them more like they're still dedicating themselves to it, and kudos to them for sticking to that, even when it's not in their self-interest. But they're actively having to choose not only this cause over themselves, but over the people that they care about, and it's causing their emotions to swell up. It's making them, their emotions are now causing them to make poor decisions in the game because they're having to contend with them, and it's super hard. Like, I'm not playing my own game. I'm not, I'm stabbing my friends in the back, and she just feels so bad about it, and I feel bad for her. Like, and I know that there were, like, because here's the thing. Again, people were talking about, like, oh, Hannah, she's so heartless. I can't believe what she's doing. And I even saw people, while she was crying, like, you should be crying. How dare you cry when you did this? Like, yeah, like, what do you mean? She's not heartless, clearly. And you what do you want from her? Well, she feels bad because she did that. She did it because she felt bad. That's how people work all the time. So this is a big moment, and I hope that those that feel very strongly against Hannah are able to take a step back and have some empathy for somebody who's just trying to do her best in a game where she has so many different conflicting motivations and emotions. These are just people, and they have feelings.
All right.
Yeah. I don't trust the show to put this on the edited show, so I would say, everyone, it's about 12:30 a.m. ET. If you want to check out that one-on-one, this was very important for me. This is something that obviously we've seen it circulate in the Big Brother Casual group. We've seen it circulate on Twitter. There's this sentiment that people are big mad about this alliance because they are not playing self-interest, because they're not doing what's good for them. They're just simply going down this line and doing this thing and not caring about the game. First of all, there are no rules in the game. You can play the game however you want to play it. When these six came in and they saw each other, they decided, you know what? My individual game is not my priority. My priority is to be 1-6 for the chance to win. That way, in the future, in seasons to come, if someone is going to apply for the show, who can relate to me, who looks like one of us, who comes from our background, comes from our community, can see a winner on the winner's banner and be like, that is someone I relate to. That is someone who's like me. So that's why they're doing it. They're doing it beyond for themselves. And obviously when they get to 6, you're going to see people start deciding to maybe play and win. But this is the only way to guarantee it. Yes, statistically, there's 6 of them and there's 3 other people, so they could still win it if they let everything go and do it. At this point, 22 seasons have made them believe this is the only way to do it. They've put themselves aside for this. It's very selfless, but they're also human. They're also feeling it. Hannah literally said last night, it would be so much easier if I felt the way about all the 6 the way I felt about Derek X. I would feel good about it. I would feel okay. But the only person I feel that way about really is you, Tiffany. So aside from you and DX, I don't have anyone. And we all know DX is so amazing. There's a reason why he's getting the votes from every direction for the BB Bucks. He is lovely. He is also the only Asian representation of the season. And I was very happy to see him on the season. However, for the 6, if the 6 are playing as a collective, that move made the best sense for them, whether or not emotions were in play. And clearly, they had to put them aside to do it. They've all broken down about this, about other votes. Xavier has broken down about this. Oz has broken down about this.
Right.
We've seen Kylan broke down about this yesterday. Chada has broken down about this. And not about this specific vote, but other votes potentially. It's not easy on them at all. But they know what they're doing and why they're doing it. And it's more important for them than anything. It was only last year when we had Davon talking about all these issues on the live feeds. It was only last year when Davon said what she said in her eviction speech. It's only been a year. This does not surprise me that they're doing this for more than just their own self-gain. And I love that they're doing it. And I understand that it's not for everybody. I understand that some people are turned off by the season because, again, there's this steamroll and there's this group that's working together and ignoring everything else. Maybe it's not your season, but this season might be the most important season of Big Brother that I've watched. So I'm very happy to get to talk about it. And scene. That's it. That's all I have to say about that.
Yeah. And you know, if you're watching Hannah break down and you're like, what the hell? She just own it, or just like why are you crying about it when you're the one that did this in the first place? How dare you feel bad or whatever? I don't think that you're understanding what's happening here. This is an example of how much it means to them, and maybe you don't understand that because you don't know what it's like to be in that position. And but this should show you how much this means to the players in the house and lots of people watching at home, that they are breaking down because of the decisions and the choices that they're having to make and the game that they're trying to play. This cause, getting this result, it matters that much to them. You shouldn't be like, how dare you feel bad about what you're doing when you're still doing it. You should be thinking, why do you feel so bad about doing this and you're still doing it? Because there's something else that they care so deeply about. And maybe you don't care about that. Maybe it doesn't matter to you, but it clearly matters to them. And you know, maybe that's something that you should think about, and maybe open yourself your eyes up to a little bit more, because
autosave.
Between Hannah herself, Tiffany has talked about it, Xavier, every single one of them, Big D maybe, I don't know. But every single one of them, it matters so much to. And instead of trying to judge their emotions and the struggles that they're going through for that, try to see it from their perspective a little bit. Try to understand their emotions a little bit more. Maybe we get a little bit of a better picture of what's going on here. So, yeah, there we go. Anyway, Xavier is going to talk to Alyssa and let her know that, he talked to Tiffany and he feels like, I think you're good this week. Don't worry that even if Kylan wins the veto, I don't think you're going to go up on the block. I don't think she's looking at you. So I think you're good this week. Of course, not letting her know that if Sarah Beth wins the veto, then it's probably her leaving this week. But he does kind of pass along the message that that Tiffany is solid here with her.
Yeah. Again, there's only one situation where things are going to change here, and that's Sarah Beth winning the veto. In every other scenario, anyone else has that necklace, this is done. It's over. This week's done.
It's cold.
So, Kylan is going to talk to Sarah Beth. And she feels like, okay, maybe, I think I maybe did a little bit of a good thing in the conversation with Tiffany, but I'm definitely still very worried. He says, don't be worried. You did a great job last week. There's no reason to regret what you did last week. Don't you have confidence? He said, I don't have any confidence. No, I don't have any confidence. Don't you have confidence in me, Sarah Beth?
I won't
Come on. You put your confidence in me. Wasn't Derek X a great player? Yeah. Wasn't he loyal to me? Yeah. And I stayed with you, right? Yeah.
That's
So,
exactly how
you're okay. Don't worry about it. You did the right thing. And we're gonna be okay. And she says, well, okay, well, maybe because I'm in danger, America will give me the 100, right? I mean, I don't want to embarrass myself by, like, thinking I'll get the 100, but, like, it's possible, right?
Even the small side attachment.
Maybe.
It's easier and cheaper.
If you pray really long and hard, maybe miracles do happen. We'll see.
Yeah. And Kylan says, well, you were compared to a legendary player tonight. She says, what do you mean? I don't think America will like somebody that was called Cold.
I can see that.
He's like, what do you mean Cold? Yeah, Derek called me Cold. He's like, no, he said you were playing, he said Nicole F. What? I thought he said Cold AF. No, he said you were playing a Nicole F game.
Before you get to the church,
Are you? Feet's cut.
An apartment complex.
It's so funny. It was so funny that she thought for like hours that on the live show, Derek said, someone here has been playing Cold AF game and refers to her. She just completely missed it. And no one clued her until Kylan did. So I was dying. I'm sad the feeds got cut, but also I understand why they might have done it.
Are you getting a reward for it at least?
And then by the time they come back, she's talking about like, well, if it's you and me on the vlog, I'm going to go home. That's what I'm going to go home. And she's like, that's so annoying. Like, well, at least I sent Derek X to the jury house. At least I have that.
All right.
It's a good notch on the belt on the way out. Why not? Yeah.
So
I think we're gonna
Xavier is going to talk with Big D and Kylan after the HOH room.
It's like I'm really enjoying my time in this game. I just wish it was going by quicker, just because I want. Like, there's other games I need to be playing, but I am enjoying my time with this. Either way,
and the Big Brother house is becoming real luxury here.